All right, man. And we are live. We are live back on a Friday. Man, hold on, y'all. Hold up. All right, man. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back, man, to another episode of the Winners Die Show. I'm your host, Mac Solomon, aka Project Mac. We appreciate you guys for tuning in and tapping in as always. Shout out to everybody supporting on all social platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, especially. Um, yeah, man, we got a good show lined up for you guys today. Excuse me. We have a great show lined up for you guys today. Uh, so much has been happening in the news, so much has been happening in the fitness world. So we are here to report and to educate on that as well. So before we get into it, man, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All right, comment down below anything y'all want to see next. And hey, man, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. You know, I'm finally picking up my car today. So my car, if you guys don't know, 2 weeks ago, somebody tried to break in and steal that motherfucker. But luckily, they didn't get away with it. And we just have a door handle that's broken. But uh it's not cheap. It wasn't cheap to replace it, but money's money, man. It's gonna come and go. Um, the best thing is the car is fine, and we can just move forward with life. So that's where we are with that. All right. But before we get into it, man, make sure you guys, quick sponsor here. If you guys are confused about where you are in your fitness journey and you guys want to learn how to, lose fat in 7 days. You may not burn the fat in 7 days, but if you want to learn how to lose fat in just 7 days, make sure you guys get my free 7-day fat loss guide. It's there in the description for you. Okay. Breaking down everything from, your mindset, what to eat, how to work out, the foods that you need to be consuming, so just giving you a lot of information on how to burn fat, lose fat, and build muscle on top of that. All right. So make sure you guys tap in with that. It's very important. A lot of information in that fat loss guide. So make sure you guys tap in with that. All right. All right, man. Today, towards the end of the show, man, we're talking about how results are not the finish line. So we'll be breaking that down towards the end of today's show. So make sure you guys stick around for that. But before that, we have our first two segments. The first one is the Fit Report, reporting on fitness news, things happening in the fitness world, and just giving my commentary on that. And then we have the What the Fitness, which is basically another reaction to fitness videos, things that are Winners Diet focused, Winners Diet centered, and giving my reaction on that. And then we have the main event, the topic of the day. We are talking about how results, excuse me. We're talking about how results are not the finish line. So make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll be going in on that. But before we get into that, man, I did want to show you guys something. You know what? It's okay. I don't think it's necessary for this. All right. Let's get straight to it, man. Let's just jump right into it. Excuse me. Let's just jump right into it. Let's get to the first article that we have here for you guys. All right. All right. So we have here Big Pharma strikes again. Blood pressure medicine recalled over high levels of cancer causing chemicals. A major pharmaceutical recall has been issued for several batches of blood pressure medication after testing revealed dangerously high levels of carcinogenic impurities. The FDA confirmed that the affected products contained nitrosamines, chemicals linked to increased cancer risk. The recall includes popular generic versions of valsartan, losartan, and ibuprofen. I can't even say that. Patients are advised not to stop Taking their medication without consulting a doctor, as abrupt withdrawal could be life threatening. This marks another major contamination scandal in the pharmaceutical industry, reigniting calls for stricter quality control in global drug manufacturing. Um, you guys, what is new here? Like, are we really surprised about this? You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, these are not real drugs here. They're not really meant to help you. Nobody knows what goes on in these medications that they give you. Um, it just is what it is, man. Like, let's just be honest here, right? Let's keep it all the way 1,000. When you think of pharmaceutical drugs, right, meant to help you out, the sole purpose is just to put a band-aid on a gunshot wound. Like, the problem is still going to be there. The problem is not going anywhere. It's still going to be there. You give somebody antidepressants that are quote unquote depressed, they're still going to be depressed. They just may be in a different, you know, um, mind state at the time temporarily, but the depression is still there. You give somebody high blood pressure pills. I have no idea what that is even supposed to do. Lower your Is it supposed to lower your blood pressure? But how is that possible when the reason why you're even taking the medication is because of poor lifestyle choices? So if you don't choose to fix the lifestyle choices, what is the point of taking the medication? See, this is the questions that we need to start asking people, because everybody just thinks that if something's wrong with me, I'm just going to go and take a pill. I'm just going to go and get some medication and that'll solve all my issues. So we're not asking enough questions here. We're just going straight to the hospital, getting prescribed medication, and then going on about our day, right? This isn't changing anything. This isn't fixing anything. You're just adding to the problem, and you're giving people a way out. So you're giving people an excuse to continue poor lifestyle habits. Because they're gonna tell you, yeah, please, you need to, even though you should take this medication, you got to change your lifestyle, fix your diet, start exercising. Come on, man. Do you really think they're gonna do that? Do you really think they're going to change their lifestyle now that you've given them an out? Now that you've given them um a scapegoat. Come on, man. Like, who are we fooling here? Who are we fooling here? So, I mean, and now you have cancer causing medication. Who would have thought? But this is the issue, man. This is what happens when you rely on somebody else to fix your problems. This is what happens when you don't take accountability for the poor lifestyle choices that you have continuously made throughout your life. And I'm not wishing that on anybody. I hope, everybody is safe and no one ever gets any type of negative side effects from these things that are, fatal. However, you kind of you kind of choose that reality when you go and take pharmaceutical medication for things that you can control, right? Blood pressure, anxiety, depression, all these things you can control, man. These are all things you can control. You can control all these things. But people are so lazy. They're so just weak minded. They want a way out. They want the easy way out. They want quick fixes. They want to just pay for it and move on. And I get it. But sometimes there's just certain things that money can't fix, man. Money can't fix your mental health. Money can't fix your poor lifestyle choices. That's a you thing. There's no amount of money that can make you stop killing yourself from food, from alcohol, from drugs, right? These are all things that you have to change on your own. You can't pay for that. You can pay to have it slightly altered, but either way, you're still making that choice to partake in these things. So it's unfortunate. You hate to see people get cancer from taking medication, but unfortunately, man, this is what happens when you rely on big pharma to solve your poor choices. This is what happens. This is what happens. So I'm not surprised here. I hope they can get this together. And there's definitely going to be some lawsuits coming in very soon from this article. So I'm curious to see what happens in the next few months. But if this is true, man, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits happening with this. A lot of lawsuits. So I mean, this is it's going to be it's big pharma is going to be paying out some money, man. All right, let's move on to the next article here. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All right, what we got next? All right, another mental health issue. Okay. Here we go here. Kind of just what I was speaking on. Scientists may have cracked depression. Japanese researchers have created a molecule called PA915 that wipes out symptoms after just one dose. Okay. A team of Japanese researchers has developed a breakthrough molecule known as PA915, which early tests show can eliminate depressive symptoms after just one dose. The discovery could redefine how depression is treated, offering a faster, more effective alternative to traditional antidepressants that can take weeks to show results. Preliminary trials suggest PA915 rapidly restores balance to key neurotransmitters in the brain linked to mood regulation. Unlike standard treatments, it appears to act directly on serotonin and dopamine pathways without the harsh side effects of SSRIs. While the molecule is still in preclinical testing, experts say it represents one of the most promising advancements in mental health medicine in decades, with potential to help millions worldwide. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the comments here. This is interesting. Side effects, you're happy even in sad situations. That could be a side effect. Or we could end capitalism and see how much depression will be left after it. Okay, here we go. I'll take one of these pills and the one that wipes certain memories, please and thank you. Side effects and long-term effects are great now, just another decade or so until I get a shot of my chronic treatment, resistance depression. What would the world look like if no one else got sad again? That's a fair question. That's a fair question. Um, but let's tackle this article first. But um, yeah, what would the world look like if nobody was sad again? If everybody was happy, like, isn't that what we want? Wouldn't that be the idealistic world? I don't know. Like, if everybody's chasing happiness, right? Everybody's wanting happiness. Everybody wants to be happy. That's what you hear from everybody. Hey, what do you want out of life? I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. That is the main goal for everybody. So wouldn't this be actually good for society? I don't know. Like, cuz who likes to be sad? Nobody likes to be sad. Nobody wants to be sad all the time. You know, the main goal that I hear from damn near everybody that I talk to when it comes to, hey man, what do you want out of life? It's just I want to be happy. So if scientists can make a pill that can just make you happy all the time, wouldn't that be in everybody's best interest? You got a bad day at work, you get divorced, someone that in your family dies, God forbid, but hey, you can take this pill and you won't feel the pain. Isn't that what you want? I'm not sure how this is a bad thing. If we're just looking at it from a logical standpoint, Can it really be a bad thing? Like, do people want to grieve in certain sad situations? I don't know. But I mean, you give people options, man, and they're gonna find an excuse to go against it. You know, nobody wants to be broke and depressed. Why not just be broke and happy, right? Because that's what they always compare it to. Hey, man, I went to Africa and I see kids in huts and they're happy. Well, isn't that what you want? So I see a lot more negativity in the comments than I see actually people that are for it in the comments. So this is interesting. This is a very good topic. But going back to the article, um, I think they've always had, cures for depression and cancer and things like this. It's just I don't know what's taking so long for it, but I've always been under the impression that they've always had cures for these type of things. You know, um, it just comes down to laws and regulations and obviously money. You always got to follow the money. You know, but very interesting, man. Would y'all take a pill that always made you happy, that you never felt sad, you never felt depressed again, despite sad life events happening? Would you always want to be happy? That's a very good question, man. That's a very good question. Like, how do you think the world will look if everybody was happy? How would it look? We'd have less crime, we'd have less conflict. you know we'd have more peace. Isn't that what we want? We've always advocated for world peace, right? This will be a step in the right direction. So I mean, to me, it doesn't sound like a bad thing. I'm just saying, I'm for it. It doesn't sound like a bad thing to me. I would want to see this happen. So I mean, hey, when it does happen, whenever it gets passed, hey, I'm all for it, man. I might take it too. Shit. All right, let's move on to the next article, man. That was a great article. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, here we go. So this last one here, people who have to fake smiles or suppress their emotions at work are up to 30% more likely to binge drink later. A study from Penn State University found that workers who regularly fake smiles or suppress emotions on the job are up to 30% more likely to engage in binge drinking afterwards. The phenomenon known as emotional labor drains self control and increases the likelihood of unhealthy coping habits. Researchers analyzed data from service industry employees and discovered that the emotional strain of maintaining a cheerful demeanor, especially in customer facing roles, can lead to stress induced alcohol consumption. The longer workers suppress emotions, the greater the risk. Psychologists suggest that workplaces with better emotional support and mental health awareness can help reduce these behaviors, encouraging authenticity and empathy rather than forced positivity may be the key to healthier work environments. Okay. Well, here's the thing, man. Um, People are always going to go through shit, man. It doesn't matter whether you're working or not. Um, I always advocate to just be a good person. Um, Through and through, right? It doesn't matter what you're going through or what your status is in life. Just be a good person, because you never know what somebody else is going through. I've been there where I've had to fake smiles and fake connections because my job, for what I do as a trainer, I have to be very social. I have to be high energy. I have to always put on, um, just a good attitude. And some days I just don't feel like that. Some days I don't feel like that, but I never turn to like alcohol because I'm forcing a smile, And one thing they don't tell you about being a fitness coach or fitness trainer, um, it's a very draining process, man, because you're just giving your energy to so many different people throughout the day. You know what I mean? And yes, it's a very rewarding career, and you can make some great money doing it if you do it the right way. But there's some coaches that are not in the best positions, and they have to give out their energy. And what makes it worse is they have to deal with clients that they really don't care for, and that could be even more draining. So um yeah, man, I've been there, bro. I've been there. Well, I've had to fake the funk just to get through the day, man. I've been there where I've had to fake the funk just to make people feel good and comfortable, man. Um, it's not a great feeling, man. It's not a great feeling because you feel like you're forced to do something that you really don't want to do, you know. And that could cause a lot of stress. It can cause um depression. It can cause you just not to be in the best mental space. So um I always encourage, man, try to do something that you find is a stress reliever. you know Figure out what that is, so that at least, man, you can have just some level of mental clarity, because life is already whooping people's asses already, man. Life is already kicking people's asses. It's hard enough to survive out here, man. You know, the last thing you need is to be around some shit that is going to drain your energy physically and mentally. So, figure out where you can find some relief in, figure out where you can find, just to be less stressed, man, and just get throughout the day and just, move on. But turning to alcohol is never the answer. Turning to vices that can be physically and mentally harming um, over time is not the answer. So you have to figure out what that outlet is going to be. So I'm never going to advocate do drugs or smoke weed or drink alcohol or gamble just to get some stress relief, because that could be physically damaging, and mentally damaging and financially damaging down the line. So you got to figure out what that is, figure out how to be disciplined in that area. Um, yeah, man. We have to start when we start to, like, when we're stressed, man. When we feel like we're stressed out, and we feel like, we're just overwhelmed. We gotta stop going to, you know, just self inflicting or self damaging vices. We gotta stop going down that route. Like, just we have to figure out what we can do that can give us a return on what we're looking for, mentally, physically, financially, man. Like, stress can be relieved in many different ways. That doesn't have to kill you, or doesn't have to drain your pockets, or doesn't have to cause physical harm. You know, you can fucking take up a hobby. You can go work out. You can go do some martial arts. Like, physical combat sports is a great stress reliever. Going for a walk, being around friends. You know, these are all things that are mentally going to give you a return. But turning to alcohol and all these other just things that can cause self-inflicting wounds, man, it's not the answer, man. It really is not the answer. We got to do a better job of just making better decisions, man, when it comes to stress. Because I come across a lot of stressed out people all the time. And every time I ask them, hey, what do you do when you're stressed out, man? I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. 9 times out of 10, it's never anything that's positive. It's rarely positive. It's always something that is physically, financially, or mentally damaging, but it makes them feel good in that moment, right? They get that dopamine hit. They feel good in the moment, but then it comes crashing down, and now they're back worse than where they started at. So it's never the answer, man. Figure out what that is, man. Figure out what that is. All right. Let's move on to the What the Fitness segment of the show. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you guys for tapping in. All right, we got a woman here who says, you cannot be bad. You cannot be a baddie if you're a fatty, okay? Her words, not mine. Okay, maybe not in those exact words, but let's check out what she says. Let me go ahead and refresh this up. This one went kind of viral. All right. So the video here says, if you're broke or fat, you can't be considered bad? Question mark. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's see what this says.
See that you in shape. How important is it for a woman to stay up on her appearance?
10 out of 10. Like, at all times, a woman should be in shape, I personally feel like.
So can you be fat and be bad?
No.
Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Yes.
Because we got a lot of BBWs. I don't even understand that term, but we got a lot of plus size
I don't think
women.
you can be bad and not be disciplined.
Ooh, but keep going. Elaborate.
So I said to say you should have discipline. So you should know, like, okay, I need to eat right. My money needs to be right. My hair needs to be right. Like, we're women. You know what I mean? Like, everything should be right on a woman.
So you can't be bad and be broke, and you damn sure can't be bad and be fat.
No.
Man, this is
Well, damn. Well, that's a lot of unbaddies out here. So she says you can't be bad and be broke. You can't be bad and be fat. And this is very refreshing to hear from a woman say this, because let's be honest here, man. There's a lot of guys out here. There's a lot of thirsty guys out here that gas women up that are very out of shape because they want to get with them. So they're telling them, hey, you don't need to lose weight. Hey, you look good the way you are. You don't need to lose any weight. I like them thick. But what they don't realize is they are adding to the delusion. They are adding to the delusion because they want to get with them. They want to sleep with them. So now you have just a bunch of plus size women out here that act like supermodels. They're acting like they are, the baddest on the planet. And shout out to the BBWs. We love y'all too. But let's be honest here. A lot of y'all are delusional with where you stand. And I'm not saying this to bash y'all, but I blame the men because they're the ones that are gassing you up. Absolutely. And it works in the same way with women. It works with men too, right? Guys will be like, yeah, I'm him, I'm that, I'm this, and I'm that. But you share a studio apartment with 5 other men. You sleep on an air mattress. Like, how are you him? Like, I'm trying to figure this out, but it's just delusion to me, bro. It's really delusional. It's delusional thinking. Like, we have to stop feeding into people's delusion. Stop feeding into people's lack of sense of reality. We have a major issue right now where people have just inflated egos. I don't know if it's because of social media. I don't know if it's because of, they were never raised properly or they were never treated right properly growing up. But we are living in a very crazy time right now where people are just delusional out of their mind. People have no sense of awareness when it comes to their own bodies or just their own worth or where they stand in society. It's insane to me. It's insane to me. I want to watch that video again. I want to see what she says. Let's replay this real quick.
The Nothing But the Truth live podcast. I see that you in shape. How important is it for a woman to stay up on her appearance?
10 out of 10.
So,
Like at all times, a woman should be in shape. I personally feel like
so can you be fat and be bad?
no.
Can you elaborate on that for me, please? Because we
Yes.
got a lot of BBWs I don't even understand that term, but we got a lot of plus
I
size
don't think
women.
you can be bad and not be disciplined.
Ooh, talk.
You cannot be bad and not be. You can't be bad and not be disciplined. That is a very big thing. You can't be bad and not be disciplined. You know what I mean? But it's what makes someone attractive is their discipline. Saying no to things that are self-destructive or things that can bring down your value as a person, right? I.e., gaining weight, i.e., doing drugs, i.e., hanging around in situations that you have no business being around in, right? Just doing habits that are self destructive. You having discipline in those areas makes you attractive. It's that simple. But we feel like now we can do these things, we can partake in these things and still be attractive. We can partake in these things and still feel like we're the best person on the planet. You know, nobody can fuck with us. I'm him, I'm her. It's just a crazy way to think, man. It's a crazy way to think. You know, I don't know, but that was a great video. You know, we just have a big problem out here, man. It's too many people that have just two sense like high their egos are just out of control. Their egos are out of control for whatever reason. Like I said, social media, you know, other thirsty people, thirsty dudes trying to get at them, so they're giving them compliments when they know they're lying. You know, but it's an insane it's just insane where we are right now in society. I blame social media because I don't really think there's anything else to blame besides that. You know, just because now we have so much access to these things. So you'll have a girl that's 400 pounds. You can find at least five guys in the comment section with hard eyes. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's a crazy way of thinking, but this is where we are with it, man. All right, let's move on to the next article here. Um, all right, here we go with this one. This guy says to stop oversharing your plans. Okay. So this is actually a very important video that I need to personally follow because sometimes I fall victim to this. So let's check this out. Let me refresh this real quick.
Time you overshare, you hand someone a weapon they didn't have. I'm telling you this from experience. Oversharing is one of the worst habits you can fall into. You think you're just being open, but not everyone who listens wants the best for you. Some people collect your stories so they can twist them later. Now look, I'm not saying don't trust anyone. I'm saying not everyone needs to know everything about you. Keep some things between you and your Lord, between you and the people who've earned it and who you genuinely trust. And protect yourself by not oversharing. Because when you overshare to the wrong people, you hand them a weapon they didn't have.
That's a fact, man. It says it's always tempting to overshare. It's a tendency that so many of us have and struggle with, but 9 times out of 10, oversharing normally leads to problems. Most people hold jealousy in their heart. They listen not always as sincere advisors, but as people with ill intentions. Beware of oversharing to the wrong person because when you do, they will twist, manipulate, and use it against you. It happened to me, and I've learned my lesson. So learn from my mistakes and just know that whenever you overshare, you hand over a weapon that they never had. It's very important, man. I know a lot of us have goals, a lot of us have aspirations to do this and do that. We have projects that we're working on that we feel like are important to us, and that's great to have that. However, the only issue is don't tell people about it until it's done. right? Maybe tell a close friend that you guys are always running ideas off each other, right? Maybe you can tell him or her, but stop telling everybody what you plan on doing because everybody's not going to be happy for you, or they feel like sometimes they might have wanted to do that exact same thing. They just don't have the action to execute it, right? They don't have the will to execute it. So now they're going to cast their insecurities onto you. Oh man, I don't know if that's going to work. Well, he tried it 6 months ago and he failed at it. Are you sure you want to go down that route? Like, there's going to be someone that's always trying to throw a nail in your fucking tire, man. There's always going to be someone trying to hold you back. This is why you cannot tell everybody everything. Like, you have to keep a lot of things that you plan on doing to yourself. I have a bad habit of this. Sometimes I try to, sometimes it just comes up. Like, somebody might ask me, hey, what are you working on? Or, hey, what do you, got going on? And I'll tell them. I'm like, okay, he asked, I'll tell him. But sometimes it's just like, you don't need to tell them that much. Just tell them you got some things that you're working on, Yeah, man, I got some projects I'm working on, nothing crazy right now. We're just, getting the small details together. Just keep it like that. Just keep it very simple. And if they keep asking about it, just continue to keep it short and simple. Because people are nosy. They're gonna want to ask and want to figure out what you're doing to maybe copy you or tell somebody else about it. Hey, look what he's doing. It's always best to just keep things to yourself, man. Keep things to yourself. Everybody isn't meant to know everything. Let them find out when it's done. Because now it's like, what happens a lot of times, excuse me, what happens a lot of times is that you will tell somebody something that you're working on, or you have planned to work on, and you tell them that, and now they're going to give you reasons as to why it won't work or why you should not do it. Now that's going to have you start to second guess yourself. You're not going to be as confident in it anymore. So, like I said, man, oversharing can be very dangerous. It can be very dangerous. I'm sure there's been a lot of plans that have fallen through because people have overshared those ideas to people that did not deserve it. Like, you can't share big ideas to small-minded people. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't share big ideas to small-minded people because they're small-minded for a reason. Like, they're never going to see the bigger picture because they are one-dimensional way of thinking. That's why they're never going to be that's why they're never going to go anywhere in life, because they're too one-dimensional. They see things as black and white. They're negative. Nothing's ever worked out in their life, so they want you to have the same type of situation. That's why when I talk about the winner's diet, man, it's very important when it comes to the pillars, right? What you eat, who you're around, what you listen to, your habits. This falls into the people that you're around. The people that you're around have to support your ideas, no matter if it's a good one. I don't want to say if it's a bad one, but they should just be there to support you. Either way, as long as it's not going to be harmful to you, they should be there to support you, either like through and through. But what happens is we keep just the wrong people around us that don't give us any type of, positive feedback. It's always just negative. It's always about what can go wrong, never about what happens if it goes right. Like, think about that. Like, when have you ever told your friend or someone that you're around an idea, and when have they ever talked about what could happen if it goes right? Like, when have they ever talked about, hey, if this works, this could happen. 9 times out of 10, it's always, hey, well, if it doesn't work, well, this might happen. Something negative. There's always going to be something negative attached to it. It's never on the positive feedback. It's never about anything positive that can happen. It's always about something can happen negatively. That's the reason why you don't overshare. That's the reason why you don't tell everybody everything. Because most people are just, their mindset is not equipped to handle a big vision. Because they've never had any large visions. They never had any type of goals or aspirations in their life. They've just lived life just waking up one day and going to work and going home, watching the football game. That's it. That's their day to day. They don't have any plans. They don't have any aspirations, bro. They don't have any type of business sense. They watch the news all day. They're waiting for someone to come give them a handout or save them. This is the lives of most people. So you have to really be very selective about who you tell things to, man. This is to save your life, bro. There have been probably so many, countless ideas that have not been executed because they told the wrong fucking person. The wrong person spoke death into them. They spoke death into their dreams, and now they had the insecurity to not execute. I've had people like that around me. I've had exes like that. I've had exes speak death into me, telling me how things would not work out for me, telling me how my ideas were stupid or how my ideas would not work long term, how my market is saturated. And it worked. And now they look stupid. Right? But I'm just saying, this is what happens when you tell the wrong people things, man. So I'm going forward, I'm very selective about who I spend, not only who I spend time with, but who I choose to tell my ideas to, man. Because the wrong person will speak death into you, whether that be a friend, a family member, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. Because believe it or not, man, a lot of people are jealous of you. They're jealous that you have the ideas and you have the discipline and motivation to execute it. So a lot of times they want you to be on the same level as them. So they don't want to see you grow or do things that are extraordinary. They want you to be losers like them. You know, like like I said, I've had exes like that. I've had family members like that. I've had friends like that. Always talking about why it can't work. Why not? You know? So it's just life, man. This is how this shit goes. So I hope you guys just learn from that, man. So don't overshare so much. Don't tell people everything. Everybody doesn't deserve your ideas or your vision. All right, let's move on to the next article here. All right, here we go with this one. We got Kenny Smith. He says champions do daily what everybody does occasionally. So let's take a look at this.
Do daily what everybody do occasionally. Everybody else does. You just do it daily. You're not.
Yeah, we do.
You're not extraordinary. You just do the ordinary extra. You that's what makes you, separates you. Champions do daily what everybody do occasionally. Everybody else does. You just do it daily. You're not.
Yeah, we do.
You're not.
And this applies to every area, every asset in life, man. Like I always say, man, the average person is not in great shape. The average person does not work out 3 times a week. The average person cannot do 10 push-ups or 5 pull-ups. So I'm always going to advocate for you guys to separate yourself from everybody else by just being in decent shape. You don't have to be in great shape, just be in decent shape, right? Because what happens is people will look at you and they'll be like, "Man, you're in great shape. How did you do this? How do you do that?" And you really don't have an answer because it's like, yo, this is my lifestyle. This is just how I operate every single day. I don't know what it's like to not do these things. So I can't really tell you what I do because I do this shit every single day. It's like waking up and brushing my teeth. Once you get to that point in your habits, then it's very hard to break down to people how you got to where you are. It's very difficult to break down to people how you got to where you are. You know, man, you eat so clean. Like, how did you do it, bro? I've been eating clean the past 15 years. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't have an answer to show you how to eat clean. I mean, I can show you how to eat clean, but to ask how did I get the body that I have, to ask how I'm in shape, I'm in great shape. Well, I just do what most people are not doing. Work out 3-4 times a week, have a healthy have a healthy diet, go to bed at a decent time, drink a lot of water, stay away from drugs and alcohol. Like, I thought this was basic human nature. I thought this was just basic human daily habits. But you'd be surprised how many people do not follow this same pattern, which is why a lot of people look the way they do. You know, you work out for 3 days in a row and you feel like you're the strongest person in the room. Bro, I've been doing this the last 15, 16 years. I don't claim to be the strongest person in the room. This is just my lifestyle. This is just how I operate out of life. I don't know what it's like to not do these things. You know what I mean? So, like, if you wonder why you can't get in the best shape, it's because you're doing something that I do every single day. Like, you do on occasion what I do every single day. That's why you can't get in great shape. That's why you're going to have the pot belly. You do occasionally what I do every single day. You can't just eat clean for a week in a row and then that's it. And then look like me or look like somebody else that's in great shape. It's never going to happen. You can't work out for 2 weeks in a row and then feel like you're going to have a great physique. It's not going to happen. You have to do this every single fucking day for the rest of your life. Or in my case, every single day for the next 15 years. Every single, excuse me, every single day the next 15 years. To have a great physique, if you want to have a great physique like me or somebody else that you admire, because I guarantee you they've been training for about 10 years, 10 plus years at that. So you can't do occasionally what we do daily. It's impossible. Even if you take gear, even if you take PEDs, ladies, even if you go get the BBL, it won't be the same. It won't be the same. It's the discipline that got us here. You think you can get here without discipline? You're out of your fucking mind. You think you can have a great physique without discipline? You've lost your fucking mind. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. You think you can have the same habits that you have now that got you that damn belly and change your body over time? It's never going to happen. You're living in a state of delusion. You're living in a state of delusion. You need to be checked into a mental psych ward. That's how delusional you are. This is a lifestyle. This is what we do every single day. I don't know what it's like to not do these things. And it's going to continue to be like that. So, I don't know, man. If you want something that the champions have, that the people that are winning have, you got to do what they do every single day. Every single day. All right, man, let's move on. This is the main event. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're at the 50-minute mark. Man, today's episode just flew by, huh? All right, man. Today, man, we're talking about results are not the finish line. Okay. So this will be today's topic. And I've touched on this before, but I want to touch on this again because I know a lot of people right now are on fitness journeys, and you know, whether they're just starting or whether they're a month or two in, that's a great time to start to see minimal results and start to feel minimal results. However, that isn't the time to relax, man. That isn't the time to take your foot off the gas, because most people see progress and they feel like they can just, coast a little bit. They can kind of ease up a little bit. That's when you push harder. That's when you go even harder. The same energy that got you the results in the first place, that's going to be the same energy to get you more results. But you got to stay hungry. You got to stay disciplined. The moment that you start to get relaxed, that's when things decline. That's when you start to take steps backwards, right? You see this happen all the time with people. All the time. They might be 2 months into a plan and they notice that their face is getting slimmer, their clothes might feel better. And now it's like, you know what? I deserve a pizza. I deserve some shots tonight at the bar. I deserve a slice of cake, and then they get comfortable. They start to fall back into old habits again. And then they're back where they started, or even worse, they're further back than where they started. So now they have to do the process all over again, going through the same pain, going through the same boring routine, when all you had to do was continue to push harder and stay the course from where you were. And you would have seen more results over time. But the problem with people, man, is, again, it's the discipline, right? The moment we see a win, we get comfortable, right? Like, you can't celebrate in the second quarter because you're up 20. Like, you still got a whole half to go. You got a whole nother half to go. But you're celebrating because you're up 20 by halftime. And you think you got the game on lock. You think you won the game. And then you take your foot off the gas, stop playing defense, start taking ill-advised shots. Next thing you know, the other team comes back, they go on a run, and they beat your ass by 30 because you weren't focused. You felt like you had it in the bag. Shout out to Kobe, right? He talked about, hey, we up 2-0. The job ain't done yet. The same thing is applied to your fitness journey. The job is not done yet. Why are you celebrating in the second quarter? Why are you celebrating by halftime? Because you're up 20. Why? Is the job done? Did you get to where you want to be at? If the answer is no, why are you celebrating? Right? So let's take a look at this. This was back in the, I think, 2009 or 10 playoffs.
About
You're up 2-0.
job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
Okay. You're up 2-0.
Yeah, shout out to Yvette, the homie Yvette. Hey, we're not even at the halfway mark. Like, what you mean? Exactly. See, this is the type of mentality that you gotta have, man. We're not at the halfway mark. What you mean? Like, we got a whole half to play. So don't be compliment. Yeah, I appreciate the compliments. I get it. We're up. We're looking good right now. Our defense is tight. The offense, our offense, we're hitting shots. We're talking on defense. Everybody's looking good, but that's it. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going forward. We're gonna tighten things up. That doesn't mean we take our foot off the gas. Like, we still got a lot of game left to play. And that's the same exact mentality that you got to have when you guys are starting to see results in your fitness journey, man. Man, early results can trick you into thinking the job is done. I'm serious. Because being comfortable can kill your momentum. Again, you see this every single time teams play each other that are up big early in the game. They get comfortable. It kills the momentum. You know what I mean? And the same thing can happen to you. You start to see, if you start to see results early in your journey, right? That's when you start to kill your momentum. You start to skip workouts, getting relaxed on your diets, start losing urgency. You know, look, man, it feels good knowing that what you're doing is working. However, being complacency can destroy that. Being complacent can kill all your progress. So you have to look at results not being a reward. Look at it being as a sign that you're doing the right thing. Look at it as a sign that what you're doing is working. So do more of it. That's the key here. Just do more of it. Right. So when you start to reframe it like that, you're going to go harder. You're going to work harder because now you want to see more results. You're going to double down on a lot of things that you were doing. Okay. We're going 3 times a week. All right. Let's go 4 times a week. All right. We were lifting this heavy last week. All right. Let's add about 5 to 10 pounds this week. So double down on it. Just do more of it. Do more of what's already working. It makes logical sense. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it for today. We appreciate you guys for tuning in today to today's show. I can't talk today, man. But make sure you guys follow us on all social platforms, winnersdietclub.com, on the website. We got Project Mac, Winners Diet Show on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Comment down below what y'all want to see next. We appreciate you guys for tuning in today, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace. Damn.